Well, I find it very ironic, Senator Langford's comments there, because this bill keeps the border wide open. There are so many loopholes in this bill, it'll make your head spin. And any Republican that supports it supports open borders, because it's going to allow Secretary Mayorkas to have full discretion on who comes in above that 5,000 limit. It lowers the standard for those that are seeking asylum. And look, the American people are tired of being an ATM machine for the illegal aliens that are coming across our border every single day. And the more that I read language in this bill, the more frustrated I get with it, because it's not what we're being sold.
Now that the Senate has released the language in the negotiated border bill that House Republicans have always been against, it's time for them to find more bad excuses for their opposition other than Donald Trump told us to. And since the bill seems to favor Republican goals for the border, even Fox News is asking some follow-up questions.
Have you read all 370 pages of this bill?
We are working through it. We have about 50 pages more to go, but from what we can tell, and I'm going to put forth a statement once we finish reading the bill, the measures that we feel are extremely undesirable, that keep our border open, that water down the asylum system, it's not good for the country,
well, they say
quite
exactly
frankly.
the opposite. That's why I'm asking, and obviously Senator Langford and his colleagues, worked hard to negotiate something. It's hard to do some actual negotiation, and they say no new asylum claims would be allowed. Anybody crossing would be removed.
Based on
this Benford. Hold on.
Yeah.
And he said, it ends the whole idea of I made it to U.S. soil and now you have to process me. It increases detention beds, doubles the deportation flights, and adds $650 million to expand the border wall, which is the same language and funding that's in H.R. 2.
Part of what I can tell is that we're not being told the truth here about the bill, and I'm going to put out a statement that goes through it page by page, just like I did that bad debt ceiling bill last year.
Martha MacCallum looks completely disappointed in Nancy Mace's admission that she's working through the bill while she denies all the elements of it that her party has been demanding. The Republican senators that seem to have gotten their way aren't letting their House counterparts off the hook either.
Here's what Speaker Johnson said. I have seen enough. This bill is even worse than we expected. It won't come close to any of the border catastrophe the president has created. As the lead Democrat negotiator proclaimed, under this legislation, the border never closes. If this bill reaches the House, it will be dead on arrival. Your thoughts?
Yeah, unfortunate that he would step out and be able to say that right away before, obviously, he had had a chance to be able to read it as well and to be able to go through it. The key aspect of this, again, is are we as Republicans going to have press conferences and complain the border's bad and then intentionally leave it open? After the worst month in American history in December, now we've got to actually determine, are we going to just complain about things, or are we going to actually address and to change as many things as we can? If we have the shot, and it's amazing to me, if I go back 2 months ago and say we had the shot under a Democrat president to dramatically increase detention beds, deportation flights, lock down the border, to be able to change the asylum laws, to be able to accelerate the process, no one would have believed it, and now no one actually wants to be able to fix it and says, I don't want to even debate it, I don't want to discuss it.
It won't be long until Senator Langford is called a rhino for negotiating a bill that includes things House Republicans inserted into theirs. In fact, he's already being talked over in interviews on other conservative networks when he utters anything factual about the architect of GOP petulance.
I would also remind folks, during the Trump administration, we also had days of more than 4,000 people that were illegally crossing the border under the Trump administration in 2019, and they were struggling because there's gaps and loopholes in the law.
Yeah, but Senator, you know that Donald Trump, we were at a 45-year low in illegal crossings under Donald Trump, and that's just a fact. I've got the evidence to
dramatically fewer.
A 45-year low under Donald Trump in 2019.
We also had days of 3,000, 4,000, 4,500 that were happening.
But nothing like what we've seen right now. Okay, let me just
trying to figure out how to be able to implement it.
Okay, I'm sorry to talk over you, Senator. I think we might have a little bit of a delay.
Trump's effect on literally anything he touches turns into inconsistency and chaos. It's why we're watching Republicans openly bash a piece of legislation that appears to work in their favor. Even the Trump-supporting Border Patrol Union came out in favor of the bill, allowing Democrats to sit back and let Republicans publicly torch the agreement that they probably don't like all that much either.
I know a lot of Republicans are against it because Donald Trump is against it. But here's the problem for you guys. The Border Patrol Union came out and the acting CBP chief both came out and said it's not perfect, but this is the best thing we've seen in decades. So are Republicans going to say that the Border Patrol Union and the acting CBP chief are wrong?
Well, look, they can have their perspective, Steve, and we've got a lot of respect.
It's their jobs, Tom.
Well, and it's our job to actually make sure the laws will accomplish what we're seeking to do.
When a party's objective is to destroy for the sake of the former president's political aspirations, their reasoning eventually runs into some brick walls. And the only thing that makes it worse is a primary opponent that's looking for a little bit of daylight.
They should not leave D.C. until they get us a border bill. And no, we are not waiting until the general election to do this. And it's irresponsible to say that Congress has to wait until a general election because Trump is worried that he's going to lose. There's a lot of reasons we got to worry Trump's going to lose, but you don't sacrifice national security to do it.